Hi, my name is Greg Johnston, occupational therapist and CEO of Southeastern Support Care Services. Today, I'm going to give you 3 pro tips on how to change the game with fine motor skills and children who have behavior difficulties. So, if you're like me and you've tried to work with a child on tying their shoes or stringing beads or some other activity, where their fingers are involved, maybe even handwriting activities, but you're constantly fighting against difficult behaviors. How do you get anywhere with that? As an occupational therapist, I've encountered this many times. My wife, who's an occupational therapist, also has the same concerns. Teachers, parents, it's a frustration that we all share. But here's how you can solve this problem. One of the things that I think is important to look at is the approach that is used in ABA, where you look at what is triggering a negative behavior. What are some of the things that precede difficult behaviors? What kind of reward is a child getting from exhibiting negative behaviors? Because you may be unaware that you are setting up a difficult situation, or you're setting up the child for failure because they are responding to something you're doing, or they're responding to something that's in their environment. You're losing the battle because there is something that is triggering the child, and you can't get to the fine motor skills because the behaviors are just interfering so much. In ABA, you hear talk of ABC, antecedent, in other words, the thing that comes before, then the behavior itself, and then the consequence. So if you look at the ABC, then you can see if there's something that's triggering the child to engage in the behavior that you don't want, that interferes with the activity you're trying to work on. And then you can see, okay, when that behavior happens, what is the consequence? In other words, are they being rewarded for this? Is there something that can change in that process? So ABA therapists are real good when those challenges are difficult, but the average person can solve a lot of those problems just by being observant. So the ABC method, try that out. Second thing that I would say is that when a child needs to work on fine motor skills, one of the most important things you can do is build the foundational skills in the shoulders and in the trunk, because a stable shoulder is going to be a great platform for a child to reach out in space and do things with their fingers. So I would say, get the child on the ground, get them doing things physically. There are some go-to activities that I use with children on the ground. Floor puzzles are great because what I want them to do is get on their hands and knees and move around and do dynamic things where they're putting one hand down and they're reaching for something, or they're reaching across their body. So floor puzzles are great for that. Also, I like for kids to, we have these little Hot Wheels tracks. I've made a video about that, so you can check that out. But they put these little pieces together, and then they get on the ground and they roll the cars and they chase the cars, and they want them to jump over different things. And so it's a real creative activity, and they're getting so much work in their shoulders just by being down on the ground doing that activity. So those are two activities that you can do on the floor. But whatever activities you're doing, if you can get them down on the floor, get them on their hands and knees, they're going to build the strength. It's a great foundation for fine motor skills. So you're working on the foundation for fine motor skills just through putting them in those positions. All right, the third thing, which is kind of related to getting the child on the ground and doing the weight bearing activities, is that what you want to do for a child who has behavior difficulties and you can't get them to do a fine motor task is you just want to set up the environment for them. Put the activities and the tasks that you want them to engage in an accessible place for them. Maybe you have 2, 3, 4 different activities that work on those things, and you don't demand that they do one or the other. You just allow it because you've set up the environment where if you're going to do something, that's what you're going to do. So those are my 3 pro tips for how to get a child who has behavior difficulties to engage in fine motor activities. All right, so let me just recap using the ABC method. So you're looking at what's triggering behaviors and making sure that that you or something in the environment is not setting the child up for these negative behaviors. And then you want to make sure that when those do occur, that they're not being rewarded in some way that's meaningful to the child. The second thing, getting on the ground and playing so that you're developing trunk and shoulder strength. And then the third thing, setting up the environment. The setting up of the environment is a wonderful thing to do. You don't have to coach the child to teach them all the aspects of doing a fine motor task. You just put the tasks out there, multiple tasks that do the things you want, and give the child freedom to play with it. And I think when you do that, you're going to get much better results. The child is going to do what you want them to do more, which is engage in fine motor tasks, because if they engage in those tasks, they're going to get better with them. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. If you are getting value out of my content, I would just ask you to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and please make comments. Let me know your thoughts. It's going to help me to make this channel better and more valuable to you guys, which is what I really want. All right, take care.